Hello, hello. Hi everyone, Talofa Lava, and welcome to our full moon in Aquarius ceremony. Just real quick, I'd like to check in to see if everyone can hear me. It's like my favorite thing to do before ceremonies. Like, can you hear me and can you see me? Just waiting for the comments to roll in. Hi, yes, happy full moon, everyone. I am personally very excited for this full moon. I'm an Aquarius, so with it being in my sign, I'm feeling all the feels right now. Sorry, guys. Yes, just waiting for the comments to roll in. Again, Talofa Lava, everyone. My name is Hana Lei. I'll be holding ceremony with you all tonight. Oh, yes, you can hear me, you can see me. I got the go ahead. Yes, tonight is an exciting night, guys. It's not just a full moon in Aquarius. We're not just going to be entering the temple tonight. It is a super moon, super blue moon in Aquarius. And I wanted to run down really quick what that meant and kind of dive in what it meant for it to be a super moon. For those who are new, welcome. And for those who are returning, welcome back. A super moon typically occurs when the moon's orbit is a tad closer to the Earth, and so she's shining her beautiful light bigger and brighter. The blue moon that we're experiencing here, I know many of us, we are familiar with the blue moon that occurs when there are two full moons in a calendar month. This one's more of a seasonal blue moon. And so in this season of summer, there are four full moons occurring rather than the typical three we see. And this is the third of the four full moons we're going to be seeing. I believe the next full moon will be the 17th of next month, right before autumn hits. And so for it to have, or for it to coincide like this is such a rare event astronomically and astrologically. Before we begin, I'd like to clear the space a bit, light some sage. And then for those who did not get a chance, I highly encourage you to check out our worksheets. It has quite a few different tools and items that you can use to incorporate into your practice tonight or to help integrate better any lessons or things that come up tonight, help with journaling. I know I personally like to go in after ceremony and I like to go through these worksheets, answer the questions, and journal them into my lunar journal that I have. And it goes over things you can use gemstones like lithium quartz, amethyst, merlinite, herbs. We have valerian root, fennel, and then oils, neroli, coriander. And I love that they encourage you to bring something of your own so that you can, in a sense, create your own practice. And then I would also like to cover the tools that we have for tonight. Tonight I will be going over a hand cleansing ritual. This is something that is near and dear to my heart. I like to incorporate this into my practice. I practice spiritual hygiene quite often. So in our toolkit, we have the iron amphorable, this beautiful piece here. Iron is very good for grounding, promoting protection, also stands for honor and it helps remind you to follow the code of your higher truth, which I think is really important, especially for this full moon. I don't know about you guys, a lot of the energies that I have been experiencing lately, it feels like something is kind of bubbling under the surface and seeking freedom. Freedom has been a major theme for me this full moon. Next up, we have our Blue Apatite anointing beads. I really love working with Blue Apatite. It's a beautiful throat chakra stone. Again, we're working with speaking our truth here. This is also really great for connecting with your intuition. And so I'll be teaching you guys how to consecrate your tools, how to anoint them, along with creating the hand wash in the amphora bowl. And then lastly, we have our solid perfume and our candle. Both have notes of pine, pink grapefruit, bergamot, and lily of the valley. And I highly encourage you, if you weren't able to opt in for our tools tonight, something I would recommend if you like to come back into ceremony and just kind of rewatch afterwards, is finding a vessel or a bowl to incorporate this hand washing. Again, spiritual hygiene, in my opinion, is very important. I know you can cleanse with smoke, but cleansing with water too can be quite a beautiful experience to incorporate into your practice, into your daily rituals, or into basically any practice that you carry before entering or stepping in front of your sacred space. Yeah, with that, I would like to open our circle. I'm gonna light my sage one more time, guys. I like it kind of smoky in here. And for those who are new, if you're not familiar with the notion of opening or creating a circle, it's important to cast a circle when doing sacred work like this to help create a container for the workings and the energy that you will be raising for tonight. Again, the energies that we're going to be feeling and experiencing are very potent, with it being the super blue moon. And when kind of channeling and drawing in or drawing down the moon, you're going to want that safe and sacred container. So, as I cast the circle, I like to visualize bright white lights forming around me. And I also like to call in the directions. Something I've been practicing is drumming them in, finding a rhythm between the drum and calling in each corner, each direction, each guardian. And before I do that, I like to take a nice grounding breath, a nice deep belly breath. I would encourage you to take one with me. They say drumming is important because it represents the heartbeat. We look to the east, to the elements of air, the guardians of air. They that breathe life into us. We invite you into this space. We invite you to bring your winds of inspiration, of change and transformation. Lift us on your wings. Allow us to experience the freedom, the flight, the revolution. Same revolution we'd experience under such a beautiful full moon in Aquarius, the rebel. Turn to our south, element of fire, the spark of life, the spark of inspiration, the spark of creativity. We invite you into this space to light that fire under us, to make that change, to create the revolution needed in our lives and in our community. We turn to the west, to the element of water, the nurturer. We invite you in, invite your spirit of ebb and flow, encouraging us and allowing us to surrender, to release, to adapt, and again to flow. We look to the north, to the guardians of the element of earth, your stability, your grounding and your protection. We invite you into our space to hold us up as powerful pillars, as we create the magic that needs to be created tonight. We look above to our angel guides and spirits in the higher realms, and we invite you. And as we look up, we also draw down the moon, her beauty tonight, and her power. May she illuminate all that needs to be illuminated and shed light upon tonight, allowing us for expansion and growth, but also reminding us to release what no longer serves tonight. We dig deep into the earth and we invite our ancestors into this space with us, those who prayed over us so that we may walk, so that we may stand straight with pride, those who prayed over us so that we may succeed in this lifetime. And finally, we look to the element of spirit, that which connects all of us, brings us all together in this space. And as I continue drumming for just a moment, I'd like to invite you to think about things that may be bubbling under the surface. As I said, this is a seasonal blue moon. We've experienced 2 so far in the summer season, and there may be something that kept coming up for you, things that wanted to be let go of, things that may be limiting or restrictive. I want you to sit with that for a second. Think about ways of how you can release that and let it go. And with that, our space is created, it's set, and we are ready to get rolling. I am curious, so I'll pose a question to you guys. I mentioned things that may have been bubbling under the surface for you, things that maybe have cropping up the last few full moons now, or throughout this season, throughout the summer. And if you're comfortable, I'd like to ask you, have you been able to identify what that is? As we know, the full moon, the moon shines her brightest in this phase. She's illuminating things, and things that were hiding in the crevices and the corners, they're being shown on right now. And so she's kind of illuminating that mystery, anything that was unknown or hidden to us, with her being a super blue moon right now. I'm gonna keep saying that all night, guys. It's like stuck in my head. Bigger and brighter is what I'm noticing. And so she's kind of empowering me personally to really look in things I've been trying to brush under the rug for a while now. It's kind of a moment for a huge release, at least for me personally. I have heard the term karmic release kind of pop up here and there. So this would be a beautiful moon to think about any patterns you've noticed or picked up on. Reading here. I think I missed it, but I saw a comment, something that they picked up on was shame and unworthiness, and that is actually one of the things, or a couple of the things, I plan on releasing today. I was going to encourage you that as we shine or sit under her light tonight, just to help us navigate utilizing her brightness, releasing, so that we can then in turn manifest and bring in closer our desires, as long as they're for our highest good, right? That would be pretty, Lena. Yeah, if the moon really was blue, I'd probably be outside staring at her all night. Loving the answers so far. Yeah. So, just a bit of like astrology for you guys. This full moon, it's again in the sign of Aquarius, and some of the things you'll probably notice is that theme of freedom and revolution, revolt, and change may be very present under this full moon. I know a lot of my sister signs, the fixed signs, if you're unaware, Aquarius is the fixed air sign. And my sister fixed signs have also been feeling the energies of this full moon. Personally, I didn't sleep last night. I could not sleep last night because what was happening astrologically is what I'm going to say. We also are experiencing Mercury retrograde right now, and that typically forces us. I'm going to say force because it forces us to kind of step back and reflect and reevaluate what's been going on. Mercury being the planet of communication, travel, and it's of the mental realm. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but both my Mercury and my Sun are in Aquarius, and so under this full moon, I've been feeling all the feels and thinking all the thinks. I'm going to say thinks. But yeah, so this full moon, it's occurring under the 27th degree of Aquarius, and so you're gonna probably notice that this is the final degrees of the sign, and so it's closing chapters. It's illumination, revelation, and then it's also something is coming to light, something that has been neglected, ignored, denied, or avoided, which is why I'd asked you to kind of think on what patterns have been cropping up? What is it that you've been brushing under the rug the past few full moons now? Oh, see, Benji gets it. Can never sleep during the full moon. Yeah. I love that, Morgan. Morgan said that they had a very energetic evening, deep cleaning the house, setting space and energy to strengthen. Yes, yeah, that's a beautiful way. I like to clean and then cleanse my space too. The physical cleaning helps move all of that stagnant energy that may be building up. Spring cleaning is one of my favorite rituals I like to do because, the wintertime, that's for hibernation. I'm sitting still, I'm not doing anything. No, thank you. And then when it comes to spring, warmth is back. It's time to move, clear, cleanse. Yes, emotions being high, all really good things not yeah, good things that have been coming up. These are all opportunities for growth is how I like to see them. For those who are just joining us, hello and welcome again to our full moon in Aquarius ceremony. I would highly encourage you tonight, if you weren't able to opt in for the tools, to grab a couple of things. If you have a bowl or a vessel to hold water in, or even just to make a mental note of tools that you can use for later and utilize into your practice. I have a few herbs and some hydrosols and some moon water that I charged last full moon that I'm going to be incorporating in tonight's ceremony and ritual. I love that. Yes, you guys have been cleaning nonstop. So some other things that you will probably be noticing with this full moon in Aquarius, the energy could be wild, eccentric, rebellious. And again, this full moon, it's all about finding, seeking, and attaining freedom. And so I said bubbling under the surface, a lot of the energies that I have been feeling personally, very stagnant is what I'm going to say. It's like I'm coming up, I want to move, it's vibrating, but it's not breaking the surface just yet. There's like I have to shine something, I have to have my aha moments or actually pay attention to the patterns that have been happening. And a lot of it, I resonated with one of you that it was tied to self-worth. One of the things that have been popping up is just kind of letting go of the delusion I have of my own self-worth and just detaching from that. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really fun. That's really interesting. Kim said, as a preschool teacher, you could always tell a change in the weather or a coming full moon by the craziness of the little kids. Yes, they're very intuitive, the children. I know my kids at home, they've been kind of rambunctious themselves, always in my room, auntie, auntie, auntie. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about spiritual hygiene and kind of break into the ceremony that we have for tonight. If you had the opportunity to grab your bowl, now is a beautiful time to set it before you. I'm just going to go ahead and take our solid perfume and anoint myself really quick. Just going to go ahead and do my wrists here since we're creating tonight, making sure that all that I create is blessed. Doing the bottom of my feet to bless my steps. And then lastly, I'm going to do my throats to help bless any of the words that I'm speaking for tonight, anything that I'm saying, so that it may come out in a way that is understood, which I think I need, especially with this Mercury and the backspins it's doing in the cosmos right now. That's how I put it. So spiritual hygiene, I believe, is very important, especially before entering your temple, entering your sacred space, because it's an opportunity to reset and to cleanse. A lot of folks I know they'll use smoke cleansing. So yes, lighting an incense, smoking from top to bottom, back to front, using smoke is a beautiful way to help cleanse your field, your energy fields and the meridians, and clearing all of that, any gunk, is how I put it, before entering or sitting in front of your sacred space. When I say sacred space, me personally, I have a couple of altars that I utilize for prayer, and then there's one specifically that I'll use for meditation, and one of the meditations I do perform is entering a temple of sorts, or entering the temple. But one of my favorite ways to cleanse, not only my body, but my fields, would be with water. And I think that comes as no surprise. As I mentioned before, my son is in Aquarius, and so anything to do with holding water or with water is a very near and dear to my heart. And I'm going to be teaching you a quick little formula that you can use for a spiritual bath or a spiritual hand cleanse. Yes, salt baths work too. Salt is very purifying. This is something you can add into it. I like to switch it up sometimes. I love salt. Sometimes though, especially during the winter time, my skin has a tendency to get really dry. And so that's when I'll switch up my formula and use things like cascarilla powder, and I have that with me tonight. I love that, Denise. Working on the releasing guilt. Yep. Yes, yes. I would highly recommend tonight kind of tapping into anything, guilt or shame, whatever it is you feel like needs to be released. This is the time to do that. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and switch my cameras over so I can show you. Another thing that we have is the Oracle card. I know many of you are collecting these. If you want to do more research on Ganymede, he is known as the cupbearer of the gods, and then it has a beautiful oracle message for everyone here. I'm going to hold this up for those who weren't able to opt in for the kit. If you want to screenshot this and just kind of read this in your own time afterwards. But yeah, so everyone, I'm going to encourage you now to grab a bowl, grab a vessel if you don't have your kit. Next thing you're going to want is water. I'm going to be talking about how to release into the water, how to consecrate your tools, and how to consecrate yourself with the water. And so what I have here is a mix of moon water that I charged last full moon, as well as frankincense, hydrosol, and that's really good for grounding, protection, and purifying my space, and also a blend of rosemary hydrosol. And so if I don't have them in this form, I'll usually have the frankincense resin or the herb rosemary and kind of blend that together to make an incense. Those are kind of my go-tos for purifying, cleansing, and grounding. But that's what I have here. And before I do that, I'll have it here. I know we're creating a cleansing blend in here, but I'm going to encourage this step for you guys still. Just in case you decide you wanted to do something for manifestation as opposed to cleansing. But I'm just going to go ahead and quickly give this a good cleanse with the smoke and the sage. It also gives me an excuse to light more. Go ahead and light my candle here. Yeah, so this blend I'm going to be doing again is for cleansing, and I'll kind of go step by step how I do it and why I'm doing it this way. The first step for me is going to be my moon and moon water hydrosol blend. I'm going to go in a counterclockwise motion when filling up my bowl. Counterclockwise because it's kind of pushing away the energies. For me, cleansing, typically I go counterclockwise. If I'm drawing something into me or towards me, that would be clockwise. So I'm just going to go in a counterclockwise manner. I love those. Awakened Intuitives. They've been cleansing with cedar, palo santo, mugwort, and sage. Yeah, those are beautiful tools to use too. But yeah, so I have my water here. And you very well could keep it at this point if you're looking to just manifest and you want to go kind of skip towards the... we also have our dissolving paper here. It's water dissolvable. But my next step is going to be using the cascarilla powder. Let me see if I can get this in focus for you guys. And so basically what this is crushed eggshell. I use this in a lot of my cleansing baths in tandem with goat's milk as a base. So I'll have like the goat's milk powder, and then I'll add 1 or 2 of these into it along with my herbs, and that'll be my spiritual bath. But this is a smaller scale, so I'll just be using the cascarilla powder. Again, very protective, purifying too. And so again, what you're going to be seeing me do here is a lot of counterclockwise. I'm very specific with my cleansing rituals. I'm very specific with my consecration formulas, just so that every layer of intention is included. And then something I like to do, just kind of go in there, make sure it's all broken up. It's going to form this beautiful milky white solution. So if you don't have cascarilla powder, you're like, Honolulu, I don't know what that is. I don't have that. Salt. You can add salt for purification, protection. If you have any of our bath salts, you can definitely add those. And then it'll also incorporate any of the intentions that were set into the oils or any of the stones that we put into those bath salts. I know if you have black salt too, that would be an interesting cleansing bath to create. Cascarilla. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to spell this off the top of my head. It's C-A-S-C-A-R-I-L-L-A. Had to think about that, guys. So yes, cascarilla powder, or you could look at powdered eggshells. So I like dipping both hands in. In the traditions that I was taught in, we like to use both left and right hands. So I've blended that, and what I have in front of me, I have little jars of herbs. So I have lavender, beautiful for meditation, crown chakra activation, but also for rest, sleep, tranquility. As I mentioned earlier, I did not sleep, y'all, so I'm going to be putting some of this in this blend tonight. I also have a touch of eucalyptus. Usually if I don't have rosemary, that's my go-to for purification and for healing, I'll opt for eucalyptus. Very similar in properties, primarily for protection and for purifying my space and myself. And then I have roses, as many of us will know already, Rose is the queen of flowers, and so she can represent quite a few things. It could be beauty, luck, love, but she's also one of the highest vibrational flowers. And so she also represents new beginnings and promises, commitment. And with a lot of these herbs, you'll notice that they all have a variety of uses or magical properties to them. And so it's really important to sit with your herbs for a moment and not necessarily tell them what to do or let them know what your intentions are, and then create that relationship with them, create that bond with them. That's one of the main things I like to teach people. And then lastly, I have agrimony. This is going to be beautiful for bringing in harmony and balance. Like I said, under this super blue moon that we're experiencing right now, all these planets are in retrograde. The energies right now may or may not be a little funky or chaotic for you. And so it's good to invite balance and harmony into your space. Before I continue, I'd like to ask you, what are your favorite herbs or your go-to herbs and resins to work with? Oh, you have hibiscus. That'll be good for like passion, vitality. And again, every herb has kind of its own variety or list of things that it can do. So I would probably mix in hibiscus with some rose and damiana if I was looking to draw in some more love or passion into my life, into my space. Amber is beautiful to work with. Yes, I like to make a little mix of that and a few other resins for meditative or meditation blend. Palo Santo is perfect to work with. Copal, yeah, these are all really pine. Oh, you probably would have liked the candle and the perfume then, because we have quite a bit of pine in that. Benzoin powder, yes, benzoin is kind of a go-to for me too. When it comes to holding energies, and for road opening, it's actually one of the main ingredients I use, the benzoin gum. Sitting at the bottom of one of my mother bottles at home for my road opening oil is benzoin. So I use that to help open roads. Mugwort's beautiful, myrrh. Yeah. These are all beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and start creating my blend here. So like I said, we have the lavender. This is good for tranquility. And then for meditation, crown chakra activation, I'm going to go still counterclockwise. And something I like to do is use both left and right. Or actually, I'm going to draw this one into me. Sorry, guys. Kind of crushing it a little bit. It smells amazing. And then the rose, I'm going to be using this, for me specifically, it reminds me of my mother, and she's one of the main spirits that I work with in my practice. I joke around that she's, well, not necessarily joke around, but I always say, hey, she's my gatekeeper in a sense, and she kind of helps vet any energies or spirits that are allowed to have access to me. And so it also reminds me of my grandmother. She used to have rose bushes planted outside the house. And that's, that's the house I grew up at. I'm also going to do it for love, for self and for others. Gonna mix in my agrimony. Again, this is all for harmony and balance. Also for protection too. And then lastly, I have the eucalyptus. And then I'm gonna give this blend just a good little mix here, everything's getting nice and incorporated, nice and wet there, because I saw a lot of it was just kind of sitting up and floating. So I'll admit, oftentimes what I create isn't always the prettiest. That doesn't mean it's not effective. So you have your blend here now. Like I said, mine is more so to help me release what no longer serves me in this season. And it's going to help prepare me for the next new moon and full moon coming up. And I've kind of sat with myself today and I thought about what is it that I feel like I need to release? Or, like you said, Kim, what I need to banish. So if you have the paper with you, what I would encourage you to do, I don't like to use the full thing all at once. So I'm just going to kind of cut or rip mine in half. Because what I'm going to do tonight is charge what's here and then kind of charge more moon water, because under these energies, under this super blue moon, this is a really rare occurrence. I've heard, after some research, I read that minimum years or amount of years between a super blue moon like this one, minimum is like 10 years and can go up to 20. So it's very much a generational occurrence. So the seasonal blue moon and the super moon happening together. So I've ripped my paper in half. You can rip it in quarters if you wanted to. One thing I like to do with a lot of my petitions or any paperwork that I include in my ceremonies and rituals is I'll rip it so that there are no straight edges. So it's in a sense kind of unbound. Also adds a bit of a personal flair to it. Yes, the next one won't be until like 2037. So what's happening right now most likely won't happen until 2037. I don't know what I'll be doing during 2037. I'll be under another full super blue moon though. Just kind of catching up with comments here to see how you guys are doing. Yeah, feel free to add any more suggestions for herbs and things like that. So what I'm going to show you is a little bit more of this here. We've created what is a consecration blend. And so there are a couple of different ways to consecrate your tools. This is one of them. As long as you do your research, I highly encourage you to do your research before consecrating tools in water to make sure there aren't any adverse side effects or reactions. But what you can do from here, you can consecrate your hands, cleanse your hands before you do a working. I don't take my rings off. You know, this is a lot of the SG jewelry is sterling silver, so I'm comfortable in it being in water. And I'll cleanse my hands with it. Sometimes I'll get a rag if I don't have all these herbs all over the place. I'll get a rag and I'll just kind of rub my hands here. If I just have a bowl of this mixture and I want to do the whole body, I'll take something like this into the shower actually, do the regular shower, but then I'll come off to the side. I'll take my rag and I'll start from the top to the bottom, visualizing any of the gunk, any of the energies, anything that's stuck in my field that doesn't need to be there. So yeah, it's really important for me to cleanse my hands before and cleanse my body before sitting in front of my altar, before prayer, before entering any meditations, entering the temple. And what we're going to do next is releasing into the water. And I think I'm going to encourage you, I might drum for you guys just for a brief moment while you sit there. If you didn't have a chance to yet, wash your hands. If you feel called to maybe splash your forehead a little bit, or wherever you feel called to wash, cleanse, and release. And I would now invite you to just take a moment, take a breath, and focus on what needs to be banished, what needs to be released, what is ready to be let go so that you can find that freedom. Yeah, so nice deep breath. Remember, this moon is in Aquarius, the rebel, the revolutionary. Don't be afraid to revolt, to allow change to come in. One thing I always encourage, in order to make change in your community, you have to be willing to make change in yourself first. So with that, I'm going to write down what I'm going to be releasing under this beautiful full moon. And I mentioned it earlier. It was tied to my self-worth. And so I'm going to be releasing any negative connotations I may have. I'm going to write that down before I forget. I'm also going to be releasing any conditioning I may have grown up with that have created this mindset of not worthy enough, not good enough. I'm going to say F that under this beautiful full moon and allow myself to be free. Yeah, I love that. Releasing anxiety and anyone that no longer serves you, any relationships in your life that no longer serve you. It's okay to let go, especially if it's detrimental to your mental health, to your spiritual growth. If it's not serving or for your highest good anymore, it very well could be time to let it go. And another little thing I like to do when it comes to releasing rituals, cleansing rituals, I take my petition paper and I will fold it away from me once, like this. Turn it clockwise, fold it away from me, because remember, I don't want this with me anymore. I don't need any of this energy with me anymore. Now fold it one more time, fold it away. Yep, F that, F that. Whatever it is, doesn't belong here. And so now I have the blend here, and I'm just gonna release in water. I think this is really beautiful, releasing in the water. Here in California, we're blessed to be so close to the beach, because when I feel myself a little too tense, too stressed, too anxious, I go to the ocean. I let the waves kind of ebb, flow, and take away what's not serving me in that moment. Yeah, so just kind of let this dissolve. It's gone. All that I wrote down into that paper, it's gone now. And so since I released something into this, what I was going to do initially, I'm going to still charge this under the light of the full moon, but instead of using it further in my practice, because if it was just the water, the herbs, and the releasing intentions, the cleaning, cleansing, and clearing intentions, if I didn't actually put any paper in here, I would have used this, I would have strained it and used it for later uses, uh, other future rituals. But because I did release something in it, the water is now holding onto something I no longer want. I highly recommend research before you kind of pour this anywhere. Make sure that it's safe for the earth. If you put salt, I would not recommend pouring it into the earth like that or releasing into the earth like that. I like to actually kind of release back into the earth. I have a hole in my backyard where a lot of my organic offerings go in once I'm done with the working or a ceremony. And I'm like, okay, it's ready to let go. Yeah, so for this, I'm going to let it sit under the full moon. And I want to talk briefly on how would you manifest using this bowl, manifest utilizing this method. And then just real quick, actually, sorry guys, I'm going to dip my beads in just to show you what it's like to consecrate your tools with using this method. And so you created a solution to clean, cleanse, and consecrate. Again, be mindful of the materials that you're dipping into the water. Research any reactions they'll potentially have. Yeah, so I had you save some of that paper because it can't. Michelle the toilet. Yeah, actually, if you didn't want to put it in your bowl, but you still had the paper that dissolves and you want to throw it in your toilet, go ahead. If you don't have the special dissolving paper, toilet paper is perfectly fine to write down what you no longer need and to flush it out of your life, literally. But for manifesting, if you wanted to just simply focus on creating moon water for other purposes, you can follow all the steps, choose the herbs that you want, allow it to sit under the full moon, and then utilize it from there. If you wanted to capture the energy of tonight. Yeah, I love it. You guys are releasing some intense, yes, you're going to be feeling some intense energies with that super moon aspect in it. As many of us know, the full moon, she's all about growth, expansion, illumination, and then shining her light on the things that need to be made aware of. The super moon is super intense, hence the name or the word super, right? And so don't be surprised if you find yourself kind of scrutinizing things that you were trying to hide or brush under the rug. One thing I always recommend is to show yourself compassion and grace, ease and grace as you're releasing. It's hard to let go. It is hard to let go. It's not the easy. It's always easier said than done to really release and let go of what's not serving you, because a lot of us, a lot of the times, will form attachments to these things. Me personally, when it came to self-worth and not knowing my true value, I mentioned conditions. I was raised, not intentionally by my elders, but the words spoken on me as a child and things that I was told as a child, they conditioned me to believe in this, to believe that, okay, this is all I could do. This is all I'm worthy of doing. I don't deserve this. It takes time to break away from those conditions, from that mindset. Yep. So, for those who are new to the practice, I'm seeing this. Thank you for asking that, Angela. If you're new to the practice and you're wondering how do I store this, so for me, because I used herbs and organic material, I will strain this and I will keep it in glass. Glass is going to be my favorite container or material to store anything like this in. And I will let it charge it in the full moon, and then I'll keep it in the fridge if I need it for consumption. I would not recommend consuming this though, just to keep it good, because again, there was organic material here, and if you don't add a preservative, it is bound to go rancid eventually. Where there is water, there is life. So there's that. Sometimes I'll add a touch of alcohol. The ibuprofen, I think is how you pronounce that. Propyl? 70% alcohol. Honestly, I'm not gonna hold you. I use Everclear. Okay, you got a touch of vodka. That'll work in preserving your creations. It's important to strain it though. I would highly recommend straining anything you create, charge, and let sit with herbs after a maximum of 2-3 nights. And then once it's stored, I would highly recommend that you place it in a cool, dark space, especially if it's moon water, unless you want to make it like solar charged as well and you want to charge it in the moon and in the sun. It is very dependent on your intentions with this. But I would highly recommend that you get real clear about what it is you want this water to do. Oh yeah, yeah, Angela. So the water that you're charging tonight, strain it if there are any herbs in it, and then in glass would be the best bet for you if you have like a glass jar. And then yeah. Water goes counterclockwise in the toilet. Lena, you're gonna have me look at my toilet now as I flush to see if that's what's happening. I'd actually never look. Yeah. And then just real quick for those who are deciding to manifest using this method and you wanted to make moon water specifically for manifesting a specific intention into your life, I did everything counterclockwise. Remember, I'm pushing energy away from me. I'm clearing my space. I would recommend clockwise. You're drawing something into you, I recommend clockwise because you're bringing it in. I want this. And so that would be the recommendation there. And so with that, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of start winding down. I would highly recommend, again, guys, if you have not had a chance to check out the worksheets, it's a beautiful way to help integrate anything that may have come up tonight, any themes, any patterns, and it's a beautiful opportunity for journaling. And then before I fully start closing down, one other thing I like to do with the paper, after if you're manifesting again, I spoke about clockwise. You're going to want to fold this towards you once you've created your petition, have your intention, your desire. Clockwise, fold it against you again. Clockwise, fold it towards you again. Then you can dissolve it if you want. You can place it under a candle if you're more for like fire activation, or you can literally set it on fire safely. There's more than just one way to activate, to release. So you can release the water, fire, the elements. Honestly, it's what you're called to, in my opinion. Yeah, thank you for joining. I'm just checking if there are any other. Yes, there can definitely be an expiration date. I'm going to invite you guys one more time to just take a nice deep breath with me. There are some heavy things that were released under this beautiful full moon, and something I'll encourage you, especially if you decided to release tonight. We're still in the energies of the full moon, and if you still wanted to do the manifestation portion, you can do that. I know tomorrow I will be focused more on kind of honing in and any finalizing of my manifestations from this past new moon before the waning starts and I fully release all that no longer serves. But yeah, so again, nice deep breath. I would encourage you to close your eyes if you're comfortable as we release our guides, our guardians, and our spirits. the element of spirit, we thank you for connecting us in this space, bringing us all together in this circle. We thank you, and with gratitude, we release you. To our ancestors that joined us tonight, guiding us, lending their hand and their prayers, their support, we thank you, and with gratitude we release you. To our angel guides above, we thank you for your shining light guiding us. And to the moon herself for shining her beautiful light. With gratitude, we thank you and we release you. Element of North, guardians of the North and the element of Earth. We thank you for your stability, for your protection and your support. With gratitude, we release you. To the West, guardians of the waters, inviting your ebb and flow, teaching us to surrender, to release and to let go. With gratitude, we release you. We look to the South now, element of fire, the guardians of creativity, inspiration, the spark of life. We thank you for lighting that fire under us, giving us the freedom and the space to release what no longer serves, burning away what no longer serves us. And with gratitude, we release you. To the east, the element of air, the guardians of air. We thank you for inspiring our thoughts, for blessing our words, and for allowing us to take flight and experience freedom as we let go of what no longer served us. Flying, allowing us to shift with the winds of change, transition. With gratitude, we release you. And before I open circle tonight, I'd like you to take a moment to thank yourself for taking this opportunity to be here in this space and just allowing yourself to change, to let go, for laying down any foundations needed to get this work done. So as we know, it's easier said than done. Here you are doing it. Or as a lot of my generation saying, you're doing the damn thing. Whew. That I'm just going to go ahead and open our circle. back, and I want to thank you all for coming tonight. And I just want you to, again, thank yourself for showing up and for doing the work. And because it's one thing for me to sit here and, like, yes, this is how you can do the thing, but for you to sit here in your power and say, I'm going to do the thing, I'm going to release, I'm going to face what's been bubbling under the surface and finally let it go, that takes strength. It takes a lot of self-awareness too, to admit to yourself, like, hey, this is not serving me, I gotta let it go. Faftai Lava, thank you again everyone for having me. Such a joy. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's full moon. Don't forget to rebel. We're under the full moon Aquarius. I know I'm gonna be up to some nonsense tonight myself. With that, Tofa.